The first alien ships appeared on a Tuesday morning. They were huge metal discs that hovered over major cities around the world. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, Tokyo, all had the same strange visitors in their skies. For 3 days, the ships just floated there silent and watching. World leaders tried to make contact. They sent radio signals, light patterns, and even loudspeakers with messages of peace. But the aliens did not answer. On the 4th day, smaller ships came down from the big ones. They landed in open spaces. Central Park in New York, Hyde Park in London. Tall beings with blue-gray skin stepped out. They had 4 arms and eyes that glowed yellow in the darkness. They called themselves the Vexori. Colonel Sarah Jenkins was one of the first humans to meet them. As head of the United States' first contact team, she stood with 20 soldiers at the edge of Central Park. All were armed, but their orders were clear: no shooting unless attacked first. The alien who approached them stood nearly 8 feet tall. Its skin shimmered in the sunlight. It wore armor that looked like liquid metal flowing around its body. "I am Commander Zax of the Vexori Empire," the alien said in perfect English. "Your planet is now under our control." Colonel Jenkins stepped forward. "Earth is not yours to control. We come in peace, but we will defend our home." Commander Zax laughed, a strange sound like metal scraping on stone. "Defend with what? Those primitive weapons you carry?" To prove his point, he motioned to one of the soldiers. "Shoot me." The soldier looked at Colonel Jenkins, who hesitated, then nodded. The soldier raised his rifle and fired a single shot. The key bullet hit the alien's chest and simply stopped, hanging in the air an inch from the armor. Then it fell to the ground, flattened. As I said, Commander Zax picked up the crushed bullet. Primitive. Similar scenes played out across the world. The alien showed that human weapons, guns, missiles, even tanks, could not harm them. Their armor stopped everything. In the Pentagon War Room, General Harris watched the videos from around the world. Every weapon useless, every bullet stopped. The most powerful armies on Earth helpless. "We need to try the big guns," a young officer suggested. "No," General Harris shook his head. "No nuclear weapons. Not yet. We don't know what they might do in response." Instead, world leaders agreed to a meeting with the aliens. It was held at the United Nations building in New York. Representatives from every country sat nervously as Commander Zax entered with 4 other Vexori. "Your planet has resources we need," Commander Zax explained. "Metals, minerals, and your oceans. We will take what we want. You may live, but you will work for us now." The UN Secretary General stood up. "And if we refuse?" Commander Zax picked up a pen from the table. With one quick motion, he stabbed it through the solid oak table, driving it all the way through the 3-inch wood. "Your strongest materials are like paper to us. Your fastest fighters are slow to our eyes. Your most powerful weapons cannot scratch our armor." He looked around the room. "Refuse, and your cities will burn." To prove their power, the aliens destroyed a small island in the Pacific Ocean. Their ships fired beams of light that turned the entire island to glass, then shattered it. The message was clear: resist and die. Most countries surrendered. Alien ships landed in fields and cities. The Vexori began building tall towers that reached into the sky. Humans were forced to work, mining resources and building more alien structures. But not everyone gave up. General Harris gathered a small team of scientists in a secret base deep in the Rocky Mountains. Dr. Lisa Chen was the best physicist in the country. Professor James Wilson knew more about metallurgy than anyone else, and Captain David Rodriguez had been studying the aliens since they first landed. "There has to be a weakness," General Harris told them. "Nothing is invincible." For weeks, they studied the small pieces of alien technology they could find. Scraps of metal from their ships, a broken piece of their armor, soil samples from where they landed. Dr. Chen made the first breakthrough. She noticed something strange about the alien metal. It reacted to a certain type of radiation found on Earth but rare in space. "Look at this," she showed the others. A small piece of alien armor sat under a special light. As the radiation hit, The metal began to lose its strength. Their armor is nearly invincible, but this specific radiation makes it brittle. Captain Rodriguez added another piece to the puzzle. The aliens always avoid our nuclear power plants. They build their towers at least 50 miles away from any plant. They're avoiding the radiation, Professor Wilson realized. It must harm them or their technology. General Harris saw the first ray of hope. Can we use this? Can we make weapons that use this radiation? Dr. Chen nodded slowly. Yes, but we need time and resources. You'll have them, General Harris promised. How long? 3 months, maybe less if we're lucky. Outside their hidden base, the situation grew worse. The aliens took more control each day. They set up camps where humans were forced to work. They destroyed entire towns that tried to resist. Their towers grew taller, reaching into the clouds. Commander Zax addressed the world on hijacked television signals. Your surrender is the only logical choice. Your weapons are useless against us. Your technology is primitive. You are like children playing with sticks against an army. In their hidden lab, Dr. Chen and her team worked day and night. They created a new type of bullet coated with the radiation that weakened alien armor. They modified rifles to fire these special bullets. Each weapon was tested and retested. General Harris watched the first successful test. A piece of alien armor that had stopped normal bullets was now pierced by the new radiation bullet. It works, he whispered. It actually works. Dr. Chen nodded. Yes, but we need more. Thousands more weapons. And we need to get them to fighters around the world. We'll find a way, General Harris said. The aliens think they've won. They've mocked our weapons and our technology. But they've made one big mistake. What's that? Asked Captain Rodriguez. General Harris looked at the new weapon in his hands. They underestimated how dangerous we can be when we have nothing left to lose. General Harris stood at the window of the command center. 3 months had passed since the aliens first landed on Earth. They called themselves the Vexori and came in ships bigger than cities. The world's armies tried to fight back, but the aliens just laughed. Your weapons are like toys to us, the Vexori leader had said when he met with Earth's leaders. He picked up a tank shell and crushed it between his fingers. We have traveled through stars. We have conquered 100 worlds. Your little metal sticks that shoot fire cannot hurt us. But General Harris had a secret. While the aliens mocked human weapons, a small team of scientists worked day and night in a hidden lab deep under the Rocky Mountains. Dr. Chen was the lead scientist. She had studied the small pieces of alien technology they managed to collect. The aliens had armor that stopped bullets and lasers that cut through steel like it was paper. But Dr. Chen found something strange. The aliens were weak against a type of radiation that was common on Earth but rare in space. The radiation from our nuclear power plants makes their technology fail, she told General Harris during their weekly meeting. They don't know this weakness because this kind of radiation doesn't exist where they come from. General Harris nodded. Can we use this to make a weapon? We already have, Dr. Chen said with a small smile. She opened a case on the table. Inside was what looked like a normal rifle, but with a glowing blue core. This gun shoots bullets coated with the radiation. Their armor can't stop it. While the scientists worked, the aliens took over more land each day. They built tall towers in major cities. They forced humans to work for them, mining resources and building more ships. The Vexori leader, Commander Zax, made big speeches about how humans would serve as slaves for the great Vexori Empire. Your planet is now ours, Zax said in a message broadcast around the world. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your armies cannot stop us. Accept your place as our servants or die. But today was different. Today, General Harris watched as trucks carried the new weapons to army bases around the world. The plan was simple. Attack all Vexori bases at the same time. The aliens wouldn't know what hit them. In London, Captain Williams led his squad through the empty streets toward the alien tower. They carried the new radiation guns. The squad moved quietly, staying in the shadows. Remember, Williams whispered to his team, aim for the joints in their armor. One shot should break through. An alien guard stood at the entrance to the tower. He was tall with blue skin and 4 arms. each holding a different weapon. The guard saw the humans and laughed. More humans with their little guns. The guard, "Ed, when will you learn?" Captain Williams raised his weapon and fired. The bullet hit the alien's chest armor. For a second, nothing happened. The alien laughed again, then the armor began to crack. Blue light leaked out. The alien's laugh turned to a scream as the radiation spread through his suit. "Move in," Williams shouted. His team rushed forward, firing at more guards. Each shot broke through the alien armor that had stopped all other weapons before. The same thing was happening all over the world. In Tokyo, New York, Moscow, and 100 other cities, human soldiers attacked with the new weapons. The aliens were shocked. Their unbeatable armor failed. Their ships lost power when hit by the radiation bullets. Commander Zax couldn't believe. The reports coming in. His bases were falling. His soldiers were dying. The humans who he had laughed at were winning. "How is this possible?" he roared, smashing a control panel with his fist. "Their weapons are primitive." His science officer, trembling, explained, "The humans found our weakness. The radiation in their weapons disrupts our technology. We never encountered this type of energy before. Why didn't you discover this?" Zax grabbed the science officer by the throat. We didn't think to test for it," the officer gasped. "We were so sure of our superiority." In the hidden lab, Dr. Chen and General Harris watched satellite images of alien ships trying to leave Earth. Many exploded as they hit the radiation field now surrounding the planet. "We did it," Dr. Chen said quietly. "We found their weakness." General Harris nodded. "They mocked our weapons because they were different from theirs. They thought different meant weaker. That was their biggest mistake," Dr. Chen replied. "They forgot that different can also mean dangerous." The main alien command ship hovered over what was once New York City. Inside, Commander Zax prepared a final message to his homeworld. "The humans have weapons that can defeat us," he said into the communication device. "We underestimated them. We mocked their technology. And now we are paying the price. Do not send more ships. This planet is not worth the cost." As he finished speaking, the ship shook. Human fighters were attacking from all sides with radiation missiles. The ship's shields flickered and died. Commander Zax looked out the window at the Earth below. He had laughed at human weapons. Now, those same weapons would be his end. The battle lasted 3 more days. When it was over, the remaining aliens surrendered. They agreed to leave Earth and never return. They would tell others in the galaxy about the humans and their strange, deadly weapons. 6 months later, General Harris and Dr. Chen stood in the rebuilt United Nations building. Representatives from every country had gathered to hear them speak. The aliens thought they were superior, General Harris told the crowd. "They mocked our weapons because they were different. They laughed at us because we weren't like them." Dr. Chen stepped forward. "But being different saved us. What they saw as weakness was actually our strength. They mocked what they didn't understand, and it was their downfall." As they left the building, Dr. Chen looked up at the stars. "Do you think others will come?" General Harris nodded. "Yes, but next time they won't be laughing." 5 years had passed since the aliens left Earth. The world had changed. Cities were rebuilt. The alien towers were turned into research centers where scientists studied the technology left behind. Humans had learned much from their encounter. With the Vexori, General Harris, now Admiral Harris, led the new Earth Defense Force. Every country contributed soldiers, scientists, and resources. They all knew that the Vexori might not be the only aliens out there. "We need to be ready next time," Admiral Harris told the World Council during their monthly meeting. "The Vexori will tell others about us, about what happened here." Dr. Chen nodded. She was now the head of the Global Science Division. "We've made good progress. The radiation weapons have been improved. We've also started building ships using the alien technology we found." The first human starship sat in a massive hangar in the Arizona desert. It was smaller than the alien ships had been, but it was just the beginning. The ship, named Defender, could reach Mars in just 3 days. Soon they would try to go farther. "What about the signal?" asked the representative from China. "Admiral, Harris looked at Dr. Chen. They had been tracking a strange signal from deep space for the past 6 months. It wasn't from the Vexori. It was something else. We still don't know what it is, Dr. Chen said. But it's getting closer. On a cold winter morning, radar stations around the world picked up something entering the solar system. It wasn't one ship. It was hundreds. They're not Vexori, Captain Rodriguez said, looking at the images. Now the head of Earth's early warning system, he had studied the new ships carefully. Different design, different energy signatures. Admiral Harris called an emergency meeting. World leaders gathered in the underground command center beneath the rebuilt United Nations building in New York. We have visitors, he told them, and they're heading straight for Earth. The ships moved fast. Within 2 days, they were passing Jupiter. Earth's defenses were activated. The radiation weapons were ready. Fighter jets stood by. The Defender and 2 newer ships moved into position around the moon. Should we try to talk to them? Asked the UN Secretary General. Yes, Admiral Harris said. But we'll be ready if they don't want to talk. They sent messages in all known formats. For hours, there was no response. Then a single ship broke away from the fleet and moved toward Earth. It was smaller than the others, about the size of a passenger airplane. They're sending a messenger, Dr. Chen said. The small ship landed in the same spot where the Vexori had first arrived, Central Park in New York. Admiral Harris, Dr. Chen, and a team of soldiers waited. The memory of the first meeting with aliens was still fresh in everyone's mind. The ship's door opened. The alien that stepped out was nothing like the Vexori. It was shorter than a human, with green skin and large, round eyes. It had 2 arms and moved gracefully despite the Earth's gravity, which should have been stronger than it was used to. Greetings, the alien said in a soft, musical voice. I am Ambassador Tella of the Galactic Alliance. We come in peace. Admiral Harris stepped forward. I am Admiral Harris of Earth. Why have you come to our planet? Ambassador Tella looked at him with those large eyes. We have heard about what happened with the Vexori, how your people defeated them. It is unusual. We protected our home, Admiral Harris said simply. The Vexori have conquered many worlds, Tella explained. You are the first to drive them away. This is why we have come. Dr. Chen moved closer. Are you friends with the Vexori? Tella made a sound like gentle bells. A laugh. No. The Vexori are enemies of the Alliance. They take worlds by force. They destroy cultures. We have fought them for centuries, but they are strong. What do you want from us? Admiral Harris asked directly. An alliance, Tella said. To share knowledge. To stand together against the Vexori when they return. And they will return, Admiral Harris, with more ships, more weapons. They do not forget defeat. The World Council debated for days. Some trusted the new aliens. Others thought it might be a trick. In the end, they agreed to a limited alliance. Earth would share some of what they knew about fighting the Vexori. The Galactic Alliance would share technology that would help humans explore space. 6 months later, construction began on a massive space station in orbit around Earth. Alliance engineers worked alongside human engineers. Dr. Chen spent hours each day learning from alien scientists. Their technology is amazing, she told Admiral Harris during one of their walks through the new Earth Defense Headquarters. But they never thought to use radiation as a weapon against the Vexori. They were too focused on matching Vexori technology, not finding its weakness. Sometimes being less advanced has advantages, Admiral Harris said. We had to think differently because we couldn't fight them directly. The first Joint Human Alliance mission launched a year later. The improved Defender ship, now with Alliance engines, carried a team to a Vexori outpost on a distant moon. Their mission was to gather intelligence about Vexori plans. Captain Rodriguez led the team. Remember, he told the human and alien crew, we're just looking. No fighting unless absolutely necessary. The mission was a success. They learned that the Vexori were indeed planning to return to Earth, but not for another 3 years. They were building new ships and new armor that they believed would resist the radiation weapons. We need to be ready, Admiral Harris told the World Council when the mission returned. We need better weapons, more ships, stronger defenses. And we need to take the fight to them, Captain Rodriguez added, not wait for them to come to us. The Council agreed. Earth would not just defend, it would join the Galactic Alliance in pushing back against the Vexori Empire. Human radiation weapons combined with Alliance ships would create a force the Vexori had never faced before. As the new fleet prepared for its first mission, Admiral Harris stood with Dr. Chen and watched Earth grow smaller through the view screen. Did you ever think we'd be here? Dr. Chen asked. 5 years ago when they first came. Admiral Harris shook his head. Never. I just wanted to save our world. And now we're going to save others, Dr. Chen said. The Admiral nodded. The Vexori mocked our weapons because they were different. They thought different meant weaker. He looked at the Alliance ships flying alongside the human vessels. But different can also mean stronger, especially when we work together. As if on cue, the fleet jumped to light speed, carrying Earth's defenders to their first battle among the stars. The aliens had mocked human weapons until it was too late, and now the entire galaxy would know what humans could do. 10 years had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Alliance. Human ships now traveled between stars. Colonies had been built on distant planets. The joint Human Alliance forces had pushed the Vexori back to their home systems. Admiral Harris, now in his 60s, stood on the bridge of the Avenger, Earth's largest warship. His hair had turned white, but his eyes were still sharp. The scars on his face told the story of many battles. Status report, he said to his second-in-command. Captain Layla Martinez. All systems ready, sir, she replied. The fleet is in position. The Alliance ships are standing by. Today was important. After years of fighting, the Vexori had finally asked for peace talks. The meeting would take place on a neutral planet, called Nexus, a trading world where many species gathered. Dr. Chen joined Admiral Harris on the bridge. She had changed too. Her once black hair now had streaks of gray. She walked with a slight limp from an injury during a Vexori attack 3 years ago. Do you think they really want peace? She asked quietly. Admiral Harris shook his head. I don't. No, the Vexori have never asked for peace before. They either win or keep fighting. Maybe they've learned, Dr. Chen suggested. Even the Vexori can change. The Avenger landed on Nexus along with 3 Alliance ships. Security teams checked the meeting area carefully. No weapons were allowed except for the personal shields that both sides would wear. The Vexori arrived in a large ship that showed signs of battle damage. Commander Zax himself led the delegation. He had aged too. One of his 4 arms was now mechanical, replaced after being lost in battle. Admiral Harris, Zax said when they met in the neutral building. We meet again. Commander Zax. Harris nodded. It's been a long time. Too long, Zax agreed. Too many dead on both sides. They sat at a round table. Alliance representatives were there too, along with leaders from other worlds that had suffered under Vexori attacks. We are here to discuss terms, Zax began. The Vexori Empire is willing to stop its expansion, to respect the borders of Alliance, space and Earth colonies. Admiral Harris listened carefully. This was not the same arrogant Zax who had mocked human weapons years ago. Something had changed. Why now? Dr. Chen asked directly. After all these years of war, why seek peace? Zax looked at her with his yellow eyes. Because we are losing, he said simply. Your radiation weapons, the Alliance technology. Together, you are too strong. We cannot win this war. Admiral Harris didn't trust him. The last time we met, you told us that human weapons were toys, that we would serve the great Vexori Empire. I was wrong, Zax admitted. The words seemed difficult for him to say. The Vexori have never been wrong before. We have always been the strongest. But you humans, you changed everything. The peace talks lasted 3 days. The terms were harsh. For the Vexori, they would return all conquered worlds, pay for rebuilding, never again build the weapons that had destroyed so many planets. On the final day after the agreements were signed, Zax approached Admiral Harris privately. There is something you should know, the Vexori commander said. Something that few, outside our world, know. What is it? Harris asked, suspicious. The Vexori were once like humans, Zax explained. Weak, small. Our planet was harsh. We had to become stronger to survive. We built better bodies, better weapons. We forgot what it was like to be vulnerable. Why are you telling me this? Because you reminded us, Zax said. When you defeated us with simple radiation, when your primitive weapons broke through our advanced armor, you reminded us that strength isn't everything. Sometimes it's the simple solutions that work best. Admiral Harris wasn't sure if he believed him. The Vexori had been cruel conquerors for centuries. Could they really change? As the human and Alliance ships prepared to leave Nexus, Captain Martinez reported something strange. Sir, the Vexori are removing weapons from their ships, she said, showing Admiral Harris the sensor readings. They're actually disarming. Keep watching them, Harris ordered. This could be a trick. But in the months that followed, the Vexori kept their word. They withdrew from conquered planets. They dismantled weapon platforms. For the first time in recorded history, the Vexori Empire was not at war. 1 year after the peace treaty, Admiral Harris retired. He moved to a small house near the ocean, far from the politics of Earth and the Alliance. Dr. Chen often visited him there. The Alliance wants to make you an ambassador, she told him during one visit. To represent Earth in the Galactic Council. Harris laughed. I'm too old for politics. Let the younger generation handle that. They understand this new galaxy better than I do. The Vexori have asked about you, Dr. Chen mentioned. Zax specifically wanted to know if you were well. What did? You tell him? I told him you were enjoying your retirement and fishing a lot. Harris smiled. Good. That's all he needs to know. They walked along the beach as the sun set. In the night sky, they could see the lights of ships and stations orbiting Earth, human and alien vessels moving together peacefully. We've come so far, Dr. Chen said, from fighting for our survival to exploring the stars. All because the Vexori underestimated us, Harris said. They mocked our weapons because they were different. A small ship flew overhead, heading for the spaceport nearby. It was an Alliance trading vessel bringing goods from distant worlds. What do you think the future holds? Dr. Chen asked. Harris looked up at the stars. More surprises, I imagine. The galaxy is full of strange and wonderful things, some dangerous, some beautiful. And where do humans fit in all of that? Right in the middle of it, Harris said with a smile. Learning, adapting, finding simple solutions to complex problems. Later that night, Admiral Harris sat alone on his porch. A message arrived on his personal communication device. It was from Commander Zax. Old enemy, new friend, the message read. The Vexori Council has voted to open our homeworld to visitors. You would be welcome if you wished to see it. Harris thought about it for a long time, then he sent a reply. Maybe someday. For now, I'm content to watch the stars from Earth. As he looked up at those stars, Harris thought about how far they had all come. The Vexori had mocked human weapons until it was too late. But in the end, that mockery had led to something nobody expected. Understanding between different worlds, and perhaps that was the greatest victory of all. 20 years had passed since the peace treaty with the Vexori. Earth had changed in ways nobody could have imagined before the aliens first arrived. Cities now had tall buildings that used alien technology. People traveled between countries in ships that floated above the ground. The world was at peace. Admiral Harris had died 5 years ago. His funeral was attended by leaders from Earth, the Alliance, and even Commander Zax himself. They buried him with full military honors near his beach house. His gravestone simply read, "He saved Earth and changed the stars." Dr. Chen had taken his place as Earth's representative to the Galactic Council. Now in her 70s, she had seen more of the galaxy than any human before her. Today, she was returning to Earth for an important event. Welcome home, Dr. Chen, Captain Rodriguez greeted her at the spaceport. He was now General Rodriguez. head of Earth's Defense Force. His hair was gray and lines marked his face, but his eyes were still bright. "Good to be back, David," she said, hugging her old friend. "How are the preparations for the ceremony?" "Everything is ready," he told her as they walked to the waiting transport. "Leaders from 50 worlds will be there, even some Vexori representatives." The ceremony would mark the opening of the Harris Academy, Earth's first school for students from all across the galaxy. Young humans would study alongside aliens from dozens of worlds. They would learn science, history, art, and most importantly, how to understand each other. The academy stood on the site of the old United Nations building. It was a beautiful structure, with towers reaching into the clouds and gardens full of plants from many worlds. The main hall could hold 5,000 people and was made of a special glass that showed the stars even during the day. As Dr. Chen prepared her speech for the opening, she looked at an old photo on her desk. It showed her with Admiral Harris and Captain Rodriguez from 25 years ago, just after they had defeated the Vexori. They looked young and tired but proud. "We've come so far," she whispered to the photo. The opening ceremony began with music from Earth and other worlds. Leaders spoke about the importance of learning from each other, of sharing knowledge rather than fighting over it. When it was Dr. Chen's turn to speak, she walked slowly to the stage. The large room fell silent. 30 years ago, she began, aliens came to our world. They called us primitive. They mocked our weapons and our technology. They thought they would conquer us easily. She paused, looking at the mixed crowd of humans and aliens. They were wrong. Not just about our strength, but about what makes a civilization great. It is not the power of weapons or the advanced technology. It is the ability to learn, to adapt, and most importantly, to work together. In the front row sat a Vexori, not Commander Zax, but a younger leader named Traz. He nodded as Dr. Chen spoke. "When we defeated the Vexori, we could have destroyed them," she continued. "We had the weapons, we had the power, but Admiral Harris understood something important. True victory isn't about destroying your enemy. It's about turning enemies into friends." The crowd applauded. Traz stood and bowed, slightly to Dr. Chen. "This academy," she said, gesturing to the building around them, "is the real victory. Here, the next generation will learn not to mock what is different, but to understand it. Not to fear the unknown, but to explore it." After the ceremony, Dr. Chen met with Traz in a quiet garden. They sat on a bench next to a fountain that held water from Earth and 4 other worlds. "Your words were wise," Traz said. His voice was deeper than Zax's had been, but still had that metallic quality. "The old Vexori would have been angry, but we have learned much from humans. And we've learned from you," Dr. Chen replied. "Your technology has helped us reach the stars faster than we ever could have alone." Traz looked up at the sky. "Commander Zax told me stories about the first days here, about how he laughed at human weapons. He never laughed at humans again after that." "Is Zax well?" Dr. Chen asked. She hadn't seen the old commander in several years. "He is old now," Traz said, "but he wanted me to give you this." He handed her a small metal box. Inside was a flattened bullet, the same one that had fallen harmlessly from Zax's armor during that first meeting in Central Park. "He said you would understand," Traz explained. Dr. Chen smiled. "I do. Tell him thank you." That night, Dr. Chen stood on the roof of the academy with General Rodriguez. Below them, students from 20 different worlds were arriving for the first classes that would begin tomorrow. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if the Vexori had never come to Earth?" Rodriguez asked. Dr. Chen thought about it. "We would have eventually reached the stars on our own. But it might have taken hundreds more years, and we might have made the same mistakes the Vexori did, thinking that power is the only thing that matters. Instead, we learned that sometimes being underestimated is an advantage," Rodriguez said. "And that mockery often comes from fear of what's different," Dr. Chen added. They watched as a young human girl helped a small Vexori child carry a heavy bag. The children laughed together as they entered the academy. "The next generation won't." Make the same mistakes we did, Dr. Chen said. They'll understand each other from the beginning. Later, in her quarters, Dr. Chen placed the flattened bullet in a small display case next to Admiral Harris's medals and a piece of the first alien ship they had shot down. These items told the story of humanity's first steps into a larger universe. She wrote in her journal as she did every night. 30 years ago, aliens mocked human weapons until it was too late. They learned that different doesn't mean weaker. We learned that victory doesn't have to mean destruction. And together we discovered that the greatest power in the universe isn't technology or weapons, but understanding. She closed the journal and looked out her window at the stars. Somewhere out there, new civilizations were waiting to be discovered. Some might be friendly, others might not. But Earth was ready now, not just with weapons, but with wisdom. And that, Dr. Chen knew, was Admiral Harris's greatest legacy.